Okay, it's a few minutes after 1 Eastern time, but hopefully everyone's having an awesome day. Welcome everyone to the Citylitics Wind Future Infrastructure Projects. And really this whole conversation today is about how we can better our sales, improve our pipeline, all with some early sales intelligence. And we're going to show you how we can do that. I'm Angie Anderson from Citylitics. Welcome today. Please feel free to post questions in the chat. If we can't answer them today, we will absolutely follow up with you. This is being recorded so that we can share this back with yourself or any of your colleagues that weren't able to make it. I have the pleasure to introduce our speaker, Ahmed bin Rudin, and he is the CEO of Citylitics. He is the pioneer of data and AI for infrastructure markets. So this is really exciting. He is a proud father. He is a huge soccer, and if you're really a fan, he's a huge football fan. And if you ever have a conversation with him and you have a team, that's a great conversation to have. So today we have a presentation on just who we are, just so you understand the context of what we're showing you and how it all works, what a platform demo would look like, again, what kind of early intelligence you're looking for as a sales professional in the public infrastructure market. We have a few case studies to show you how the workflow works, and then an evaluation criteria for yourself. Like, is this an appropriate tool, or is there other tools that are more appropriate for you, depending on the structure of your company? Followed by live Q&A, or you can just type them in and we will ask them as well. So without any further ado, Ahmed, take it away.
Thank you, Angie. Welcome everyone to this webinar. Very pleased to be here and tell you a little bit about Citylitics and how we help our customers get in front of RFPs and influence RFPs long before the RFP is drafted. I'm Ahmed Badrudin. I started the company just about 10 years ago. And actually, when we started off, we were only focused on water infrastructure at the time. And this was before data and AI were really as much of a theme as they are today. And it really started off with me going to some trade shows and conferences and speaking to a lot of business development professionals in the space. And one of the common challenges I often heard was just the difficulty in finding very targeted opportunities, finding them long before an RFP, some of the frustrations with missing an RFP or finding it too late and having to scramble to respond to an RFP, and the desire to be in a driver's seat, to pre-position, to influence. And what I noticed was a lot of that intelligence was shared from what I call human networks, so going to events, trade shows, channel partners, rep networks, relationships, existing customers, and referrals. But we at Citylitics essentially found an alternative way. What we realized was that cities and utilities publish vast amounts of information. It's buried in millions of documents from tens of thousands of infrastructure owners across the US and Canada. And there's a lot of early signals that of future infrastructure needs. And so we built the technology and the business model to turn that concept into reality. And the other thing we noticed was there was a lot of good platforms and good solutions to track bids and RFPs and projects, but there necessarily wasn't a solution and where companies could identify opportunities before that stage. And so that's what we wanted to solve, and that's what we built Citylitics for. And who we are today, we're over a team of over 60 people. We've got hundreds of customers that represent the largest and fastest growing companies in public infrastructure. We originally started in water infrastructure, but then over the last few years expanded into public transportation, broadband, power, electricity, covering all facets of those industries. And we essentially really pride ourselves in delivering data that powers our customers' competitive advantage. And what we mean by that is every company, whether it's an engineering company, construction company, manufacturer, vendor, they've got certain competitive advantage, certain types of projects that they're especially suited for. And our whole focus is how do we give them the intelligence that they can pre-position and uncover those projects as early as possible. And beyond identifying the opportunities, also about helping them optimize their sales efforts and sales bandwidth, because it's one of those industries where the sales profession is so specialized because you can't still go in and hire now hundreds of people that will call on cities and utilities, because it requires deep knowledge of understanding a city utility. And it's also the longest and most complex sales cycle in the world, I believe. And so it takes a strategic approach to go and win new customers. And so the intelligence isn't just about identifying them, but it's also helping craft how to go reach out to them, how to do targeted campaigns, how to prioritize efforts too, because a lot of sales team and business development teams are stretched thin. And so those are the types of things that we solve for. And we're now have thousands of sales and business development professionals actively using our platform. And so we've learned a lot over the years, and I hope to share some of those learnings. But the key things that we really solve for, as I've mentioned before, is influencing the RFPs. It's when customers want to generate new opportunities to grow their pipeline, but existing methods are too costly, or they've got strategic initiatives, whether it's opening a new office or going into a new market, but it's it's a new area where they don't have enough knowledge, enough data, and they want to fast track that. Oftentimes, what I also see is a lot of companies have where their own sales team or business development teams are spending a lot of time manual research, whether it's spending hours a day on a bid platform going through these bid documents, or manually researching capital improvement plans or meeting minutes. And we believe that we should take over that for our customers, so our customers can just focus on relationships and growing their sales and sales pipeline. And I also see a lot of challenges that get customers share with me around just the teams are also stretched thin, and how do we help them identify and focus their time on the most high probability opportunities. And there's a great role that data intelligence has there. Now, one of the things that when you think about infrastructure project and where it starts, this is all over many, many years, right? It's a long sales cycle, but usually starts with some kind of discussion or planning that the city has, and they're doing some feasibility or assessments to see how they're going to solve that problem. Then there's a pre-design stage starts, and then they're getting funding, whether it's bond markets or whether they're getting some loans or other programs or increasing rates. And then the RFP comes out. Now, there's years of activity that happens before that, and that's where Citylitics really focuses. And what we also know is different customers have different, call it, timing in this cycle that they want to get in. Some want to get in at the earliest stages when the city is just thinking about a problem. Some want to get in when there is an established design, but they don't have financing for it yet. Some want to get in when there is financing available. So we work with our customers to understand how they want to approach their target customers, what stage they want to get involved, what types of projects they want to get involved in. And then we tailor our data and our feeds to our customers' requirements and our customers' needs. And there, like I mentioned, there's vast amounts of data. So we're tracking over 30,000 entities, which we believe is and the actual number is now closer to 35,000. But we believe it's the most comprehensive set of any entity that owns or operates an infrastructure. Obviously, cities and municipalities are a big part of it, but there's also districts, there's also MPOs, there's co-ops, there's DOTs, there's a lot of these, and all these entities that are involved in infrastructure. And there's also many different types of documents. So you've got council meeting minutes, you've got budgets, planning documents, reports, transportation plans. And we look at all those documents and all these entities, which represents in aggregate billions and billions of public documents at this point. But every month there's millions of more that are added. And what we're essentially doing is looking for early signals that each of our customers care the most about. And how we do this is we break it down to 4 steps. Our first step is what we call aggregation. So twice a month, we've got data ingestion technology. We're aggregating any new document that's published, and we're storing it. And we keep it in our archive, because oftentimes customers themselves might, or cities and utilities themselves might take it down. And so we want to have a record of it. And then it's categorization. So we've got software algorithms that try to understand, okay, is this a capital improvement plan? What date was this document published? Because sometimes a city cannot publish a document, but it might be 2 years old. So we have to look at those types of factors. Sometimes there's draft versions of these documents and then adopted versions of these documents. So we have algorithms that sort through all of that to properly store this data. Then there's an extraction phase, which is basically we're looking for early signals of future opportunities. So let's say we're looking for cities that want to build a new water treatment plant, or we're looking for cities that are talking about a major water main break, or they want to upgrade their fiber infrastructure. So we've got what we call data pipelines that look for those signals, and then we really believe in combining the best of software and humans, because it takes both to make sure we're filtering out all that noise for our customers. And so we also have a team of analysts that reviews everything before it goes to a customer, and very thorough QA process. And this is one of the things that our users really enjoy about our data is, they themselves don't have to spend a lot of time vetting all this data. We take care of that for them, and we do the heavy lifting so they can focus more on pursuing opportunities. And we've got learnings from hundreds of industry giants. And I often get asked, is this just for large companies? But I was explained, we work with the largest players, we work with regional leaders, we work with niche specialists, we work with manufacturers, construction companies, engineering companies, consulting companies. So it's not necessarily by size or type of company. What it really is who wants to influence the RFP, and how important it is to their strategy. And then that's where we're a pretty strong fit for our customers. And I should also mention, we don't do any RFP tracking. So if I go back a couple of slides, we basically stop everything before RFP. We like to typically say 1 to 5 years before RFP is where our data focuses, because there's great platforms out there that track RFPs and onwards. But we are really focused on that early sales intelligence piece. And based on our customers' size of projects they're pursuing, they typically get great ROI. And the journey kind of looks like this, where first we identify what type of insights are they looking for, what stage do they want, what size of opportunities, what context do they need in order to pursue. And initially customers start seeing more sales knowledge, more sales activity. They find more opportunities. They're able to start getting in front of these opportunities long before the RFP. Their sales team and business development folks save time. They learn more about upcoming needs, and they can refine their strategy. Sometimes it's also not just about finding about new opportunity, but they also learn more about what's going on within their known customers or known relationships that enables them to build stronger customer relationships, better prioritize their time. And for all of our customers, we also do ROI calculation, ROI math. So we look at what is the average size of what the opportunities going after, how many new opportunities they found, which is in addition to all the other productivity gains and whatnot. What's their win rate, what's their margins, and what kind of ROI can they get? And oftentimes when the project values are so high, that the kind of ROI they get, as you can see on the right, could range from 8x to 59x. And this is something we track for all of our customers, because the nature of early stage intelligence we deliver, it takes years before they actually see a close. And so in the interim, what we do is we track how much have we impacted our customer sales pipeline. And it's a pretty collaborative effort with our customers, because we want to make sure our customers are getting great ROI. So one of we've got a core product, what's called an intelligence feed. And this really is focused around how do we help our customers influence rather than respond to RFPs. I'll do a quick demo, but the key things to call out is, we filter to the specific criteria, we filter types of projects going after. It helps our customers pre-position, it helps them grow their pipeline, helps them enter new markets, and they see a lot of benefit from sales pipeline growth as well as sales efficiency. So at this point, I'm just going to pause the deck, and I'm going to move over to a platform demo just to show you a little visual of what it looks like. So, and won't do a full demo, which we're happy to schedule, but I do want to call out a few different functionality. And this is a demo environment, but we have a dashboard where we're logging the different types of data. So this is a drinking water example, and for my notes, what I have is there's water and broadband people in this call. So I figured I'd talk a little bit about both of them. And we track, you can assign them to specific individuals in the company. We look at progress, ways to filter that. Well, you can also share opportunities, and we track that. You also have ability to send opportunities back to CRM, and you can filter different ways. You can filter by different industries. And so this dashboard is meant to be an overall view of all the data that you're getting and all different activity that your users and your team are and the way they're interacting with it. And then the key feature that we have is what we call priority insights, which essentially drills down to the most ideal types of opportunities you're most interested in. And we define that with you in collaboration in what we call a search plan. And giving it a second to load. But I just want to take you there to show you the type of data that we deliver. So let's say, from April 16th, there's a rural water system. They're looking to planning a new water treatment plant at a cost of 14.4 million. You can click on that, and then it'll take you to a profile page where you get a little bit more data about the opportunity. You can see, okay, there was a call out in this council meeting minute about a new treatment plan, the cost, it was in the council discussion. We link right to the source documents too. So customers often want to know more, and we enable that. We call that source traceability. And we also have contact information. So if there's certain types of individuals that our customers want to go target, they can get that here. So this is one example. I'll just peruse through a few more examples. So this is one where they're also planning a new water treatment plant, $189 million. And we pull out the specific paragraphs that's most relevant. And again, the links are available, the contacts are available. And so this is just kind of one example of the type of data that you get. And we created priority insights because we realized our customers want to get to their best opportunities quicker, but then they also want to track what else is going on. And so that's drinking water. I'll open up a municipal broadband example too.
Just a reminder, while that's opening, please feel free. We have a couple questions that have come in, but feel free to add questions to the chat or the questions and answers, and I'll ask them. One of them is going to be answered before you're finished, so I'll leave that one.
So similarly here, you can see this early indicator going on around broadband projects, and we pull that out. We pull out the extract. We pull out the contact. So again, this might not be perfectly suited for exactly what you're targeting, but it hopefully gives you a sense of the type of data that we collect and different ways that we can filter. And then the other thing we do is for all of our data, you can, as you might have noticed in this page, you can dislike bullseye. And what that does is we start learning more about what types of data you're especially interested in. And then we refine the feed continually while keeping quote unquote everything relevant and all insights. So think of this as the ones that's priority insights, the one that's more personalized to your needs, and all insight captures all activity. And so you can also add to action list and do a bunch of other different key functionality with it. And then we also keep track of your feedback, and you can track that too. So how much data you said, hey, this is bullseye, this is like, it also helps us show ROI where $260 million worth of projects are in your bullseye list, and you can go look at them and you can interact with them. You can go back and reference them. So anyway, just a very high level view. We can always schedule a deeper demo if you're interested in learning more about other functionality. And then wanted to share a few customer stories that we've had across water and broadband and transportation. So in this case, we had a customer that they have a solution for intelligent traffic management, road traffic services, and AI-based traffic planning software. They had a constraint around bandwidth. They've had this team of 10 people who are covering the whole country, which is often a very typical setup. And in their case, they didn't have a CRM in place. For the customers that do have CRM, we have ways to automatically connect with their CRM, so they can go on Citylitics, they can push certain insights right to their CRM. And so how we solved it for them is we configured their priority feed right to their nuanced requirements, so their bandwidth constrained team isn't overwhelmed with a lot of data. Their sales leader took on reviewing insights and assigning it to sales rep, which they can do on our platform. We set up a feedback loop with them. So every month we would review as a team. We would look at the feedback they've shared on platform. We could brainstorm ways to further refine and help them get more value. And then on our platform, as we're adding feedback, we're also automatically capturing ROI. And then as you know, some of the sales cycles are long. So by the third year, where we got to them was they got $12 million in project closes and $140 million in sales pipeline added. And the key thing that we're especially excited about is that prior to Citylitics, they felt like they didn't have that ability to influence a lot of the projects they're working on. And they feel like their team got to a stage where they had much more influence around RFPs and also better market visibility, because they felt like with previous channels, it was the hit or miss or sporadic. And now they felt just much more confident around their market visibility. And so one thing that we learned was when their customers do have very nuanced criteria, whether it's a very specific technology or specific expertise, it is important to have a tight feedback loop to make sure we're refining the intelligence as close to the needs as possible. It was a critical on their side to have a dedicated leader who's driving that adoption, because the platform that we deliver is only as good as how much it's utilized and how much impact it makes on our customers' business growth. And the other thing that was interesting with learning as we did these feedback sessions was standardizing the way to reach out to cities from Citylitics insights was pretty critical for success, because they're at the stage where there's no project or RFP. So it's more about showing the city, hey, I understand you have this need or this plan, and we'd like to come in and introduce you and show you a demo or do a lunch and learn. And just standardizing that also helped the team get more value from our platform. So another customer, they do underground infrastructure, and they had a couple of specifics. One was they had very specific requirements around the size of pipe, the diameter, material, and distance from their operations and their office where they were looking for. And so we were able to hone into that level for them. And they wanted to shift the culture of their sales team away from responding to RFPs to influencing RFPs. And so similarly, we configured the priority insight feed to their requirements. They had an inside sales team that qualified the insight before it was assigned to external facing salespeople. Similar feedback loop. And on our side, we had a customer success manager that worked individually with each user to drive adoption. And so for them, 3 years, and we got to $10 million in project closes and over $200 million in sales pipeline. And they also felt they're able to shift the sales team culture to be more proactive rather than reactive. And the other thing we learned from them was when there is a lot of change management to be done here, it's better to start small and get some quick wins in order to drive adoption. And because sales cycles are long in this space, it's important to measure interim wins. So for example, how many new relationships did we get? How many new early engagements did we get? How much did we add to the sales pipeline? And that really helps keep the adoption and engagement going with the team. And then finally, a regional design engineering firm. And so what they wanted to do was identify cities before they've engaged an engineer. And they had a seller-doer model, which is very common in that space. And so that meant the bandwidth for new business development was very tight. And most of their revenue came from existing customers. And they always found that breaking into new customers was tough and took longer. And so similarly, we configured their priority feed right to their requirements. We have assigned a customer success manager to work with the individual busy users. There's a regional VP that triage insights before they assign to their client services managers. And we kept that feedback loop going to continue to improve results. And in their case, they were actually able to get a $2 million close within the first year. They found that they were able to influence the opportunity, and they also, more importantly, found a more efficient way to expand their customer base rather than historically where they only relied on relationships. And one thing we learned from that particular customer was it was helpful for them when they were approaching new customers to showcase their successful projects that were most similar to the customer needs. And what they also found was that they had tiered their customers by tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 customers. And obviously with their tier 1 customers and largest customers, they were much more on top of them. But their tier 2 and tier 3 customers, where they didn't have enough bandwidth to stay as engaged with them, Citylitics just provide another set of eyes and ears on those customers to help them prioritize, hey, this tier 3 customer might have a project in the next year. And that was a more efficient way for them to expand their business while working through these challenges with business development bandwidth constraints. And so I'll share a few typical quotes from our customers. It ranges from identifying new million-dollar opportunities and pre-positioning to increasing intelligence about an opportunity where they might have known about a project, but they thought it was 3 years out, but then something changed and there's a council discussion and that project is going to be done this year. And that's the kind of data insight that we could deliver. Sometimes they hear rumors about opportunities, and then we're able to provide intelligence that helps them figure out how to approach that city, and also saving time. Like some of our one of our customers had someone dedicated to monitoring city websites every week and going through meeting minutes one by one, and they're able to free up that bandwidth by using Citylitics, and they got so much more time back towards business development. And in terms of action workflows, so what are the most common action workflows that we see? We really see two different categories. One is when our customers directly reach out to a city or utility, and so they can leverage our contact information. It really requires the team to review their insights every month, leverage the contact information, but also leverage whatever we pull from these extracts to target the messaging to increase the chances of a positive response. And the other approach we often see is, and this is more typical when there's a manufacturer, they might have a third-party rep firm who represents them in certain regions. And so for them, one way they use it is they can find opportunities and share it with their partners. And we have functionality to enable that, where if their partner firm doesn't have access to the Citylitics, they can still see that specific project. And that helps them, saves a lot of time in terms of moving forward with certain projects. And so in terms of introducing Citylitics to your organization, this is the kind of platform where many individuals are involved in that decision, and that's a good thing. Some of the things to look for is the individual business development team or sales team. How eager are they to approach prospects 1 to 5 years before RFP? Because we do see there's a spectrum there. For some customers, it's absolutely critical and it's part of their strategy. For some customers, they're more comfortable in responding to the RFP stage. So that's number one, which is, will the team actually use the data? And then from a sales leadership perspective, what types of opportunities are looking to target? What is their growth strategy? Are they looking to invest in more predictive sales intelligence? And there's often other stakeholders too. For example, there's an analyst that's actually spending a lot of time gathering intelligence where we could free up some time. Are there marketing leaders that have certain campaign or lead gen priorities where this could fit in? And then even from obviously, more and more so CFOs are getting involved with every decision, and how open are they to investing in predictive sales intelligence? And just summarizing a little bit the landscape of the market for sales intelligence providers in public infrastructure, we typically see 4 categories. One is the RFP bid platforms, and those are ideal when you've got a large number of RFPs you need to respond, and for some customers, their strategy isn't to influence RFPs, and for them, the RFP platform is a great fit. There's also contact lists out there, so going in and getting contact information to reach out. I would say that is helpful if that's the main limitation, and you know who you're going to reach out to. You just need contact information. There's meeting minute scanner platforms out there, and that works well, and you get a lot of data. You get data from video transcripts. But one of the things to look for is if that's the only data source. So for example, if you need data from capital improvement plans or from annual reports or other types of data sources, then that's going to get missed in the meeting minutes. And then for a perspective of companies that are looking for early stage predictive sales intelligence, I'd say that's where we're a strong fit, and that's where we're worth maybe spending more time looking at and seeing how Citylitics could add value to your efforts. And a few other questions to consider as you have learned a little bit about Citylitics and whether it's right for your team or your organization. One is, how mature is your end market and the market you're going after? Is it a very established market where there's a few players that everyone knows about? Or do target buyers are unaware of your solution and you have to go educate them? Because if it's an established market, it's likely we're not a good fit. But if there's a market that requires education, then it makes more sense to look at Citylitics, because we can provide that early visibility. The other is what types of projects are you pursuing? Is it super niche projects? Is it a category of projects? That just helps identify the type of data that you'd be interested from Citylitics. And how important is it to influence? Does it make a material difference to the win rate? So for some customers, they tell us, hey, if I don't pre-position, my win rate is going to be less than 5%. If I pre-position, it's 25% plus. So if that math works for your company, then this is worth a look. And number four, and which is super critical, is the team with sales team, business development, are they set up to be able to pursue these early stage projects, because it is a new type of approach, which is different from RFP response. So those are, I would say, the types of considerations to think about. And if you do have any questions, feel free to email me. My email is ahmedb@citylitics.com. Happy to answer any questions. And if there's any that have come up today, happy to work through those too.
I do have, thank you, Ahmed. We do have 4 questions. The first one was, I think when you were on priority feeds, they wanted to know what CRM systems we can load the insights into.
Yeah, good question. So we work with all the major ones, some Salesforce, HubSpot, whatnot, and we're pretty CRM agnostic. So the way our CRM sync technology works, we can integrate with really any CRM. Some customers have in-house CRMs that they built up, so that requires a little bit more steps to connect with. But yeah, we're agnostic, and we're comfortable integrating with any CRM. And it is a very quick process where we have a chat with the CRM administrator. We have to do a data mapping exercise to see what data you want to get, how you're storing opportunities, and establish all that. We do a test run, and then it's enabled on the platform.
Perfect. Next question is, can you elaborate on the practical steps that businesses can take to leverage early alerts to better their sales in public infrastructure projects?
I'd say the first is establishing how you're going to reach out to cities and utilities. So, for example, is a strategy to go do a lunch and learn, or visit them, or do a webinar or a demo. I've seen a lot of different examples. I've seen examples where the salesperson just goes and drives to the city and visits them, and because they got enough data to know that it's worth the trip. So it's establishing how, because at that point they don't have a project often, they're just in the earlier stages. And so I'd say the most important thing is identifying how, then trying it out on a few and seeing what kind of response we get. It's leveraging the intelligence that you see about the city and the utility and agencies' needs. So there's a more targeted message that says, hey, I understand this is what you need. Here's our unique expertise or our solution. Here's examples of projects we've done in the past. We'd love to talk more. It's so there's it is a bit more an advisory type of reach out too.
The next question is, I think somebody saw our LinkedIn post about our AI tool that assists people with this early sales intelligence, and how is this going to play a factor?
Yeah, so for background, for those who don't know, we recently launched an AI tool that essentially generates an email reach out to the city. So how it works is it takes data that we have about the city's needs or the agency's need. You can insert your data about your messaging, your value proposition, your case studies, and then it crafts a message that's got a higher likelihood to get a response, and you can still edit it and then send it to the city. And reason we did that was, one things we noticed was oftentimes a customer would have to spend a lot of time once they get information from on the Citylitics platform to understand how should we best position our solution to the city? How do we get a response from them? And that can be hours of research and strategy. And we saw an opportunity to use AI to help our customers with that first step. And so it's something that we're beta testing with some customers right now. And you're welcome to reach out if you want to check it out. But our whole goal is make the lives of business development and sales teams just much easier and easier, as much as we can help them save time and energy. And that's what that AI tool is designed for.
I like that somebody's read our LinkedIn. And we got one more question here. And anyone else can ask more questions, but they say they have a great relationship with municipal decision makers. How can they leverage the information they get from Citylitics to benefit themselves?
Yeah, it's a good question because sometimes, we some customers might look at our platform and say, "Well, I've got relationships, and that's how I get work and hear of opportunities. So why do I need more data?" And it's kind of counterintuitive, but we also found that customers that actually have these relationships are able to make more use of the data because they can break in faster. Where let's say they've got some relationships and they saw an alert on Citylitics that said, "Hey, there's a city that has this problem. Um, I've worked with this person 7 years ago, haven't talked in a while. I'm going to reach out." I remember recently, just last week, there was one user who saw a notification on Citylitics, and then she saw they were a manufacturer of very specialized technology, and then they saw the engineering consultant that was involved was someone she knew, and so she reached out to that person and said, "Hey, I know that you're working on this project. We'll have to team up," and then she got a call it the favorable position in the RFP draft, and so it's oftentimes actually it's an advantage to have those existing relationships and combine and augment that with Citylitics data.
That's it for the questions I've received, but if anyone else wants to come off, I can, you're more than welcome to request to talk live too and ask your question or type it in. Or reach out, as Ahmed said, with his contact there, or we can have a rep follow up with you as well.
Yeah, thank you everyone for your time. My email is there, ahmedb@citylytics.com. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out and I'll have to support you as best as I can.
Thank you, Ahmed.